Hi everyone, we have just got a hold of Asus newest ProArt laptop. So specifically, it's ProArt Studio Book Pro 15W500 G5T. And today we will test run this ProArt Studio Book Pro 15 using Autodesk Inventor. Alright, welcome to another Inventor Part Modeling Exercise. Today we are going to create this challenge, which is called a transition pipe. Let's now head to Autodesk Inventor. I'm going to assume that this challenge is in millimeters. Let's now head up to New. Under metric, I want you to twirl this down, head to folder which is named metric, and head to part. Let's select standard millimeter.ipt. Selecting this and selecting create. On our 2D challenge, I am seeing an arc which has a radius of 16 and 9. So with that in mind, let's initially head to our sketch mode. I'm going to hit S for sketch, and let's sketch on our YZ plane. Selecting this, left click. Next, I'm going to head up to create and select arc. I'm going to left click here, left click here, left click once more, same here, left click, and left click. So we now have two arcs. Hitting escape. Next, I would like the center point of these two arcs coincident with our origin. So I'm going to head up to constraints, selecting coincident constraint, selecting this center point and our origin, this center point and our origin. Next, let's grab our dimension tool, hitting D. Let's dimension this arc to 9, hitting enter. And with the dimension tool still active, selecting this arc, left click here to place our dimension, key in 16. Next, I would like to align these points vertically with our origin. So let's head up to constraints, selecting vertical constraint, selecting this. So notice here, as I select a vertical, notice the horizontal dotted line, which means in this orientation, we will be doing an horizontal constraint. So let's reverse that and select horizontal constraint here. So notice as I hover over this point, I am seeing a vertical dotted lines. Let's select this endpoint and our origin, this endpoint and our origin. So next, let's align these points horizontally. And the equivalent for that in this orientation is using our vertical constraint, selecting this endpoint and our origin, this endpoint and our origin. Moving forward, let's now finish or exit sketch mode. Heading to home view, let's now create the round feature here. Let's enter sketch mode once more by hitting S, selecting our XY plane, which is this plane. Moving forward, let's now finish or exit sketch mode. Heading to home view, let's now create the round feature here. Let's enter sketch mode once more by hitting S, selecting our XY plane, which is this plane. Next, I'm going to grab our circle. Let's create the outer circle first, which has a diameter of 13. So hitting D, selecting this circle, keying in 13, hitting enter. Next, I prefer that the center point of the circle to be at the midpoint between these 2 points. So in order for us to create or to have that reference, let's create a line. And before we create a line, let's project this endpoint into our sketch. So with that, we need project geometry. I'm going to project this endpoint and this endpoint. Next, grab our line, create a vertical line from this projected point and this projected point. Hitting escape. Next, I'm going to grab our coincident constraint, selecting the center point of our circle and locating the midpoint of this vertical line, which is represented by this green dot. So left click here. And from here, I can right click as well to launch our marking menu, selecting our center point circle here, creating another circle that will serve as the diametrical pitch of our circular patterns. So this one has a diameter of 10. Hitting escape. Let's create another circle here. Right click for our marking menu, selecting center point circle, create another circle here, which in the drawing has a radius of 2.5. So if it's radius multiplied to 2, so it's 5. Hitting enter. Let's now extrude this circular profile. Instead of heading up to finish sketch, let me hit E for extrude. But first, let me hit escape to escape the circle command. Hit E for extrude. I'm going to select this profiles, so holding control to select multiple profiles. Let's pull this arrow going to the left and the thickness of the circular plate to be 1. Now we have the option to create the circle here so that when we create the extrusion, it will have a circle. But in this instance, I prefer to create the circle using another feature for us to have the option of creating circular patterns. So we're okay with this circular extrusion. Let me now select OK. Next, let's turn on the visibility of our previous sketch. So selecting sketch 2, right click and select visibility. Let's now select this face. Our intent here is to create the holes. Selecting create sketch, right click and select center point circle. So notice we need a reference as we are going to reuse this circular sketch. So to do that, we need to project geometry. Let's project this circular sketch. Next, grab our circle, create a circle at this intersection, the diameter to be 1, hitting enter, hitting escape. So I'm trying to move the circle to inspect. So notice here we need to align the center point of the circle with our origin vertically. So let's head up to constraints, selecting vertical constraint, selecting the center point and our origin. Left click. Hitting escape. From here, we can now hit E for extrude. Select this circular profile. Let's pull this arrow going to the right. Notice it now became a cut operation, and I prefer that this cut extrusion will be only up to here. And to do that, let's select 2, prompted to select what face we would like the cut extrusion to be up to. So selecting this face and hit OK. Heading to home view. From here, let's create a circular pattern. So heading up to pattern, selecting circular. So what we would like to create a circular pattern to will be features. So enabling features, and that feature is extrusion 2. Let's select or activate rotation axis. So I prefer this face as a reference, and for the instance of the circular pattern, it will be 4. Leaving the defaults and selecting OK. Next, instead of recreating these features, I would like to mirror this feature instead, going here. And to do that, I would like to re-enter this reference sketch that we have created. So selecting this arc and selecting edit sketch. So from here, let's grab our line tool, or once more, I can right click for our marking menu, selecting create line. The first point to be at our origin. Moving to the right, left click here, hit escape. The use of this line will serve as a reference for us to create a new plane. So let's turn this into a construction line, selecting this, right click and select construction. Next, I would like this line to be at 45 degrees. Let's hit D for dimension. Select this diagonal line and head up to our origin. So notice here, it's Z-axis. I'm going to select Z-axis, move to the right. Let's place our angle here, key in 45. Hitting enter. In addition, because we are going to create a sweep or swept feature, let's create the path for that sweep feature as well. So I'm going to grab our arc, create an arc from here, left click here, and left click here. Hitting escape. Next, I want the center point of our newly created arc coincident with our origin. So I'm going to head up to coincident, constraint, selecting this, selecting the center point of our arc and our origin. Next, I prefer this endpoint to be at the midpoint here. And to have a midpoint, we need a line. I'm going to right click, grab our line, create a line from this endpoint going to this point. Same here, this point, and selecting this point. Hitting escape. Let's now grab our coincident constraint, select this endpoint, and locate the midpoint of this vertical line. It turned into black, meaning it's fully defined. We can now select Finish Sketch. Alright, moving forward, let's now create the plane. So I'm heading up to Work Features, and our target option would be Angle to Plane Around Edge. So selecting this edge, and let's head over to our origin folder, and I will be selecting our YZ plane. Inspecting, so notice our newly created plane and the value to be 90. Selecting OK. Next, before we mirror this feature, let's first create a swept feature to create our pipe. And notice here we need another circle which is coincident to these two arcs. So let's redefine this sketch, selecting any of these circles, any of the sketch entities, and select Edit Sketch. Let's now right click, selecting Center Point Circle, and create that circle coincident to this end point. Let's now select Finish Sketch. Next, head up to create, selecting Sweep. Let's select this Profiles. And for the path, let's select this arc. So the operation to be join, inspecting, and let's now select OK. And with this dialog box, let's simply select Yes. Next, let's now mirror this feature to the other side. Let's now head up to Mirror under Pattern, selecting Mirror. So it will be Features. I'm going to select our circular pattern and extrusion. Same with extrusion 1. Notice 3 features. Selected. Activating mirror plane, and our target mirror plane is our work plane 1. Selecting work plane 1, left click here. Notice the preview, and let's now select OK. And finally, obviously this is a pipe. This means this should have a hollow feature. Let's now grab our sweep command once more. For the profile, selecting this inner profile. And for the path, we need to have the path visible. So I'm going to hit cancel for now and locate that path. So it's under sketch 1. With sketch 1 selected, I'm going to right click and select visibility. Okay. In addition, I'm going to change our visual styles. So heading up here, notice this drop down, selecting visual styles, selecting this icon, and selecting wireframe. Once more, let's head up to sweep, selecting this circular profile, and for the path, it will be this arc. Notice here, the operation is currently joined, and our intent, of course, to make this feature hollow is to create a cut swept feature. Let's head back to our visual styles, selecting shaded with edges. Once more, Boolean operation to be cut, and let's select OK. Heading to home view, inspecting. And from here, we can now turn off the visibility of our sketches. Same with sketch 2, right click and disabling visibility. In addition, let's turn off work planes visibility as well. Right click and disabling visibility. Heading to home view, front view. And congratulations for creating our part modeling exercise in Autodesk Inventor 2021. And here I am using Asus Studio Book, which is ProArt Studio Book Pro 15 W500G5T. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next Autodesk Inventor Part Modeling Exercise.